San Diego Mayor Kevin Faulconer, thank you so much for joining us. We
Great to be
appreciate
here.
it.
Thank you.
Let's talk a little bit about infrastructure.
Yeah.
The President in his State of the Union address talking about the importance of infrastructure. San Diego, latest report I saw said that it needs around $4 billion in repairs in infrastructure. What needs to get done soon?
Well, infrastructure is a core focus of mine as mayor, and I tell people my number 1, 2, and 3 priority is street repair, and street repair. San Diego is facing similar to a lot of big cities where we have not made that investment, and in fact, those bills are coming due. So part of when I was running for office and what I've said in my budget, which the council adopted, was that 50% of all new revenue coming to the city will go right back into infrastructure. That's how important it is when we're talking our streets, our sidewalks, our city facilities. So it's hugely important, not only in cities, but obviously on the federal level when we look at our highway system, when we look at our bridges. You have to have the fiscal discipline and stewardship to make sure you're investing in those neighborhood repairs that we need so desperately.
San Diego, also a port city on the West Coast. Difficulties with the port situation there right now. What's been the impact on San Diego? We
haven't been affected as much in San Diego due to kind of our niche there and less containers in some other places, but it's important that it gets resolved because particularly when you're looking at our trading partners in the east and others, we need those ports active. We need them up at full speed. So really, it's important to come to the table to get a contract that's fair for both sides, but most importantly, that makes sure that we're working at our full capacity and full potential.
The President's 2016 budget calling for spending, defense spending that far exceeds caps right now, saying that there's a lot more money that needs to be spent, probably around $534 billion in that Pentagon budget. How will that shake out for San Diego? Will San Diego get a slice of that? What impact will that have on the city?
We've seen an increased footprint and presence. As a lot has been talked about, and rightfully so, about the pivot to the Pacific. So as we're seeing more Navy ships, more sailors, San Diego has one of the largest Navy presences in the world now. That's good for our economy. It's good, obviously, for our national defense. And so we have that right synergy, and it's one of the pillars of our traded economies in San Diego, how important our military is. And not only our active duty sailors and our men and women, the Navy and the Marines, but also, the outstanding research work that's going on at SPAWAR and others, hugely important because of the technology transfers. So from an innovation economy standpoint and what's happening in San Diego, that military footprint is extremely important.
San Diego also has the biggest border crossing between the U.S. and Mexico.
We do.
What has been the impact of immigration reform and how important is that border crossing?
Our relationship with Mexico is extremely important, and it's a competitive advantage for us in San Diego and California. I'm a strong proponent of comprehensive immigration reform and believe that Congress should and must act to get this done. I mean, when we look at, we say a lot in San Diego, it's not about 2 cities, San Diego and Tijuana. It's about 1 region. And when we look at the synergies that we have in that cross-border region, we are creating good quality jobs on both sides of the border. So as we invest in that border infrastructure, getting those border wait times down, that only benefits our economy, that only benefits our families on both sides of the border. It's a real win for us in San Diego to have the close ties with Mexico that we enjoy.
A new poll out this week on the gubernatorial race in California has you leading the pack by 30%. You've said in the past that you don't want to run for the Senate to fill Barbara Boxer's seat, but would you be interested in running for the gubernatorial seat?
I love what I'm doing now. I love being mayor of the city of San Diego, and that's what I'm going to do. And I got an election coming up in 2016, but I'm just getting started. I've been on the job for a year now, and I ran on a platform of financial reform, pension reform and others, which we are implementing in San Diego. That's paying dividends and investing those back into neighborhood services. So I love what I do, and I'm going to keep right there.
You said last month that the Chargers were probably the closest they've ever been to leaving San Diego. You've established a committee of people to look into building a new stadium and how to keep the team there. How soon will you have a better sense as to whether or not they'll stay?
Well, I put a deadline to it, and I've said it is important to the city, to the fabric of our community. But most important, we have to have a deal that I believe is fair to taxpayers. If we can put that together, I think we have a real chance of success. But I will not support any plan that I don't think is in the best interest of San Diego taxpayers. But I've got a great group together. We're looking at what are the possibilities, taking a look at what other cities have done across the country. I put a deadline on it for later this fall to make that decision and ultimately have a plan that the voters of San Diego can weigh in on.
Mayor Faulconer, thank you so much for joining us.
Great to be here, my friend. Thank you.